Folks, some of these houses, they're falling apart. I'll get into that, and then the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending May 21, 2025. From time to time, I have conversations with homeowners that they're planning to do renovations, and they'll complain about the permit system, and they'll talk about, it's just a cash grab, and their attitude is, it's my house, I should be able to do whatever I want. Well, when you've been in and you've seen as many homes as I have, remember, I'm a realtor, I'm in and out of homes every day. More importantly, when you've been involved with as many home inspections as I've been involved with, when the homeowner says to me, I should be able to do whatever I want, it's my house, I don't see it that way at all. Thank God we've got a permit system in place. Now, you might not agree with how the system works, and you may think it's too expensive, or whatever you might think. The essence of the permit system is that there's certain building codes that need to be followed, and the permit system allows an inspector to go in and see what you're doing and check it off as, yes, this meets proper building code. And that's the essence of it. And that's in place. And with it being in place, I can tell you, there's still so many people doing whatever they want. If it wasn't in place, we'd have way more problems. I've been in homes not too long ago, part of a home inspection, and in the basement there were wires sticking out of the ceiling. And we saw this when we were walking through the home, looking at it as part of the showing. And I just thought, okay, well, yeah, that needs to be dealt with. Well, when we were there for the home inspection, the home inspector tested those wires. They were live wires. I didn't know that. Nobody expected them to be live wires. But here's a family with kids. There was a big family, a large family living in this home. They got live wires sticking out of their ceiling. Well, it's one thing living that way, but putting your family, if it's just you're by yourself, you're putting other people at risk. You're putting your family at risk. We're on showings. You're putting anybody else, you shouldn't be touching wires because you never know. But accidents happen. The amount of electrical problems I've seen, it makes the house dangerous. The amount of plumbing issues, the amount of structural issues. There's so many people that will remove walls. They don't hire the proper engineer. They don't go through the permit system. They just remove the walls. We've seen so many dangerous things out there that are a danger to the family living there and a danger to the next family who buys the home. Nobody buys a home from when it's built and that's their home until they pass away, and then that home gets torn down and another one gets built. Nobody lives like that. Homes get bought and sold. And so you may think, what difference does it make? I'm doing this for me. I'm happy living like this. That's fine. But when you sell it, nobody knows what's behind those walls. And you may make it very dangerous for someone else. There's all sorts of reasons. I don't want to explain the reasons permit exists, but I can tell you, we got problems now with the way many people have done renovations, with the attitude they should be able to do whatever they want. And in fact, that's what they're doing, whatever they want. That's with a permit system in place. They're not obviously taking advantage of getting a permit. Imagine if the rule was, forget this permit system. Everybody do whatever you want. It's just opening up the floodgates to people really doing whatever they want. And most people, when they have an opportunity to do whatever they want, they're not going to go the route that's proper. They're going to go how do I do this cheaper, faster, quicker route? and that's not always the best way. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, if you're looking for a bungalow, they're hard to come by, I know. If you're looking for a bungalow, we're promoting one. It'll be on the screen at the end of this video. Click on the link. This bungalow is a bit out of town, but it's sitting on half an acre. Check it out. Okay, so this show is all about detached properties and the data for detached properties for Mississauga, Brampton, and Durham region. For Durham region, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. The difference between the average detached price in Brampton, which is at the low end of these three areas I'm focused on, and the average sold price of a detached property in Mississauga is $339,000. That's a big difference, and often we'll meet buyers that'll say, yeah, I want to sell my house in Brampton and I want to buy a house in Mississauga. There's challenges to that. It's possible. Lots of people do it. But moving up to a bigger house becomes even more of a challenge when the average price, there's a delta already of $339,000, plus going to a bigger house will cost you even more. So just that's one of the reasons why I show the difference. I'm talking about these areas on one show, but they're very different areas when it comes to home prices in general. So we're going to start off with Mississauga. For week ending May 21, 26 detached properties were sold. 2 of those sold at $2 million or more. I've got a question mark here for the number 26 because sales dropped quite a bit. We were hovering around the 40s, 37, 44. The last 2 months almost, it seems, we've been hovering around 40 sales a week on average. This week, 26 were sold. Well, I can tell you that for week ending May 21, the long weekend was part of that week ending date. We see it often. On a long weekend, sales tend to take a dip. We see it often in multiple neighborhoods, and maybe, just maybe, that's the situation here. The only way we're going to know for sure, let's see what happens next week. If sales jump back up to 30, 40, then we know. But just keep that in mind. Sales dropped probably because there was a long weekend. Average sold price. Well, we see over time that they're up and down. Lately, average sold price has been high 1.3. Currently for week ending May 21, it's $1,401,000. We used to be mid to low 1.5. The difference between where we were for February and where we are today, it's a drop of about $120,000. A big difference where we were just a few months ago to where we are now in average sold price. 1,401,000 is 8% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of 1,348,000 is 3% lower than where we were this time a year ago. If we look at the dotted line, the 4-week moving average, both average price and median price are showing similar trends. Previously, prices were trending down. Since the end of April, looks like prices, both average and median, starting to trend upwards. 26 were sold, 3 of those, so only 12%, 3 sold at list price or more. Lots of listings, 161 were listed in the last few weeks. Lots of detached properties are being listed in Mississauga. Active listings is climbing. We're now at 892 detached properties sitting on the market available for sale. But only 26 sold. And months of inventory shot way up to 7.9 months of inventory. Now we were hovering in the mid fours to high fours to low fives. So somewhere there, high four, low five is kind of normal where we've been the last couple months. This 1 week, months of inventory shot up, probably due to the long weekend and the big drop in sales. Here's Brampton. For week ending May 21, 38 detached properties were sold. No property sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price took a big drop. We're now at $1,062,000. But if we kind of look at it in a similar fashion to what we looked at Mississauga, if we look at February, we were kind of sitting in the high 1.1 to low, very low 1.2 million. Overall, the last 2 weeks, prices have gone way up and way down, so I don't think that's really realistic. But if we look at overall where we've been hovering in price to, 1,119, 1,1, so 1,1 to 1,120 on average, where we were to where we are now, it's about a $90,000 price difference. So prices have come down by about $90,000 since February to now. $1,062,000 compared to this week a year ago is 7% lower. The median price of $1,043,000 is also 7% lower year over year. 38 were sold, 11 of those, so 29% sold at list price or more. 194 were listed the previous 2 weeks. Lots of listings also, which adds to the amount of properties sitting on the market available for sale. So active listings has been trending up, and months of inventory higher. We're now sitting at 7.8 months of inventory. If you're wondering if that's a buyer's market, absolutely it is. And here is Durham. And I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby detached properties only for my Durham sample. For week ending May 21, 38 detached properties were sold. 1 sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price, a little lower than where we were last week. It's now at $1,080,000. Looks like overall, average prices have been trending down in Durham. $1,080,000. It's 3% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of $1,040,000 is 2% lower. The dotted line, the 4-week moving average, both median price and average price, slightly trending downward, so prices are getting softer. 38 were sold, 12 of those, 32% sold at list price or more. 138 were listed. Active listings is climbing. It's climbing everywhere, every region. I don't know of a region where active listings is not climbing. Months of inventory shot up. We're now at 4 months of inventory. So far, it's really difficult to find a week where months of inventory was more than 3. There's 3 months on the board here. There's only 2 weeks where months of inventory was over 3 months of inventory. This week is the third at 4 months of inventory. And a quick summary, look, in most cases, almost for sure, you're going to experience a balanced market. But if you're looking at many of the areas in Mississauga and in Brampton, you're going to experience a buyer's market. There's just a lot of properties sitting available for sale. It's a buyer's market. We say between 3 months and 5 months is a balanced market. You're going to experience more of that in Ajax, Pickering, and Whitby. Thanks for watching. Now check out the awesome bungalow. It'll be on the screen. Have a great day.